Hey YouTube, I'm Jess. Welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I'm going to be recreating a makeup look done by another makeup artist slash YouTuber. Her name is Callie Ledger, and I had never watched any of her videos before, and then a few weeks ago this video came up. It's called How to Get That Skin. I thought her thumbnail was so beautiful, and so I clicked on it to watch her makeup tutorial, and I thought it was really funny because this girl does her makeup literally pretty much every step along the way the exact opposite of how I do my own makeup. And so I thought it would be fun to recreate her video, follow her tutorial, and see if the way she does her makeup works the same for me. So I haven't watched this video in a few weeks since the first time I watched it, and I'm just gonna watch it and follow along, and we are going to try to get that skin together. This girl is so beautiful and young, and yeah, I'm excited. So if you guys want to see me do my makeup completely different than I do my makeup on an everyday basis, then just keep watching this video. Let's see what we can do. Okay, so right off the bat, she's doing something completely different than what I would normally do on a day-to-day basis, which is priming. So I usually don't use specific primers. I usually just go in with skincare for my primer, and I definitely never use sticky primers. If I am priming my skin, it's for something that's gonna be brightening or moisturizing or hydrating, and she is going in with the Hydro Grip Primer, which is like a really sticky, tacky primer. I've never liked the idea of that. The idea of having makeup stick to your face or like blending liquid makeup over top of a sticky primer has just never appealed to me. I actually have this little sample of the Milk Hydro Grip Primer, and she's applying it to the areas where she says her makeup slides around on her face. So I'm gonna start with it on my nose because that's the #1 place where I have oil that starts to come through. And then I'm gonna also apply this to my smile lines. There's actually a ton of product in here. I thought I was gonna use this whole container, but just that tiny little bit that I just used is gonna go a really long way here. And then with whatever's left on my fingers here, I'm just gonna add that to the center of my forehead as well. And just really blend that until it works its way into the skin. So yes, as I'm rubbing it, I can feel it becoming less smooth and my fingers have like more friction almost. And then the next step is also something that I've never done. I've seen people do this online here and there, but I've never tried it myself because again, it just sounds so wrong to me. She then goes in and sets her primer with a loose powder. So she says to add powder to the areas where you want to keep matte. So again, I'm just gonna go over top of these areas in the center of my face. And then she says to put powder where you're going to be adding coverage later. So I know I'm going to be adding coverage here where I have these breakouts. So I'm going to add some powder here. And then I have some kind of like texture and acne scarring and stuff down here. So I'll be adding coverage down here. On this cheek as well. And then I think I'll add a little bit to my forehead too because I do sometimes get a little bit oily there as well. Next, she's going in to do her brows. I usually do my brows at the end of my makeup. So she does soap brows, which I also have never done. I don't have any soap that I can use for soap brows at the moment. So instead of soap, I'm gonna use my Anastasia Beverly Hills Brow Freeze. So she goes in with the product, combs her brows into place, then takes her finger and runs it over top, pressing them into the skin and removing any excess product. And then she goes in with an eyebrow pen. She uses the Anastasia Beverly Hills one. I'm gonna use this one from Glossy, the Brow Flick. I haven't used this in so long. I just find that it takes a little bit longer and you have to be a little bit more precise with it, which for every day is not my thing. Okay, I don't know if mine has gone off or if the color just needs mixing or something, but I feel like it looks so warm in my brows. It's not really coming off like that too bad on camera, so I'll just leave it as it is. I always feel like this product looks better on camera than it does in person, which is interesting because it's usually the other way around. Okay, so at this point in the video, she does her eyes. She doesn't do her eyes in the video. This video is just a tutorial about her base makeup. So I'm going to do the same, just really quickly throw something onto my eyes, and then we'll come back for the rest of the video. Okay, so it looked like all she did for her eye makeup in the end was just a little bit of a half winged liner and then some mascara. Next, she's moving on to her lips. Like, this is just the craziest order. I always do my lips like second to last, so this is very different for me. She's using a lip stain on her lips. She's using another one, I think from ABH. The only lip stain that I have is this one from Dior, this long wear lip tattoo. I actually do really like this and I never use it, so I'm excited to use it today. So she hardly uses any product, and mine is a really bright color, so I want to make sure I don't use too much of it. I'm just gonna add a little bit and then buff it in with my finger. Okay, that's hard. I'm like blending it up above my lip line. I need lip liner. Then over top of the stain, she goes in with a lip plumper. She uses one from Nabla, which I don't have. So I'm gonna go in with another Dior product. This is the Dior Lip Maximizer. It looks really similar to what she's putting on, and I'll just add that right on top. And now she's going in with her lip liner. She says it's easier for her to do lip liner over gloss. So this is literally all so backwards for me. I would always start with my lip liner and then kind of fill in the lines. And I find it more difficult to put lip liner over gloss because it's so sticky and moving around, and I feel like it's harder to get the line in the right place. I'm just using Pillow Talk from Charlotte Tilbury for this, trying to keep it more natural. So we're moving back to the skin. She's going in with the Charlotte Tilbury Hollywood Flawless Filter, which is one of my favorite products of all time. However, I don't have any right now. I had purchased the Auric Glow Less to do a comparison video with the Flawless Filter. If you guys want to watch that, I'll link it across the top here. But I finished my Flawless Filter and I have so much of this product left, and this was really pricey and has a really similar function, so I didn't want to buy any more Flawless Filter until I used up this product right here. So I'm gonna actually use the Auric Glow Lust instead of the Flawless Filter. And she says she's gonna add it to areas where she wants more glow. And so for me, areas where I would want more glow would be the tops of my cheekbones and then a little bit above my brows right here. But she's putting hers in some very different areas. The look that she's going for is kind of all over wet look, like super dewy, really glowy. So we're gonna follow what she's doing with her makeup. So first she takes some of this glow primer and adds it literally right to the center of her face. Then she puts it down her nose, which seems weird to me because she has set this area with that sticky primer and that powder to avoid it looking too shiny. And then we're gonna go in with like a super heavy glow product on the nose. So it seems a little bit counterintuitive to me, but we're just gonna go with the flow, guys. So she brings it right down the center to the tip. Then she adds it to the cheekbone and she keeps it really high up, like she's basically on her under eye with it. And then her chin, which is another area where I wouldn't add extra highlight normally. And then she just buffs that in with a brush, so I'll do the same. So I'm gonna zoom in on my nose here and hopefully you guys can see, but that product did not go very nicely over top of that primer and that powder. I actually was working for Charlotte Tilbury when she launched the Hollywood Flawless Filter, and in the training they were really specific about not using Flawless Filter over top of powder. It's not meant to go over top of powder. This is what happens. It breaks up and it gets super cakey. So even though this is not the Flawless Filter, it's super similar. And I know that the Hollywood Flawless Filter would do exactly the same thing. So I'm not sure how she's powdering her nose and then going over top with the product like that and not having hers end up looking like this. Yeah, it's just totally like caking and pilling and peeling. Not cute. Okay, let's keep going. Next, she's moving to blush. So she says that she really likes to use serum blushes or balm blushes. I'm really big into cream blushes at the moment too. Probably the balmiest consistency of blush that I have is this one from Rare Beauty. I have this in the shade Nearly Apricot. So this is really peachy and my lips are really like cool toned, but we'll do a little mix and match today. So she talks about blush placement and she doesn't like to add blush to the apples of the cheeks because she feels like it brings the face down. So she says that she puts her blush literally right here, like under her eye, right here. I want to make sure I'm using a brush that's going to work for that. I don't know if I have the perfect one. Let me use this little one from Charlotte Tilbury here. Okay, so she just adds the blush right here, like so, and then blends it out. Okay guys, we're just trusting the process. I feel like I look sick. And then she adds some underneath her nose as well. Okay, next we're gonna do contour. So she says she uses a stick contour and a powder contour. I don't have like a creamy stick. She's using the Fenty one, so I'm gonna use the Charlotte Tilbury liquid contour instead. And then for powder, I'm gonna go in with the Charlotte Tilbury Glowgasm palette or Nudegasm palette. She specifically says that she doesn't like to do contour in the shape of a 3. Which I agree doesn't work for everyone, but I do think is a good beginner tip that I've actually talked about doing on my channel before. Anyways, let's see what she does. So she says to feel for your cheekbone, and then underneath the cheekbone is where you're going to apply the contour. So I'm gonna do that here. And I don't love this because I'm literally going over top of acne that we haven't covered yet. And so I'm literally just putting contour over top of my pimples. Anyways, we're trusting the process, you guys. So she goes here and then she actually wants to create a contour here as well, it looks like. So she's going here and then she's drawing a line down. Something like that. So then one line and one line down. I feel like maybe I didn't bring this one far enough. Then she's contouring here, which is something that I love to do. And then here. And then we're going to blend that out, and she says to try to not move the product around too much and just try to blend it exactly where we put it. I don't know. Like, I don't know what this is supposed to do. Okay. Next, she's going in with powder over top. So she starts with her nose. I'm gonna use this cool tone color from the palette here. And she runs over top. I feel like this, I don't know, you guys tell me, like this contour here with the line coming down, is it giving my face a nice shape? Because it feels so wrong to be doing, like to be adding this here. But I can't tell. It looks crazy. I feel like I look crazy. Oh my god, she literally just said in the video, this looks crazy, but just trust me. So I'm gonna just believe you and just trust you. Yeah, I don't know. Weird things are happening here. Okay, so she's going in with a liquid highlighter next. She's using one from Iconic London. I'm gonna use the Charlotte Tilbury Spotlight highlighter. So she adds it to the back of her hand first. All right, so she starts on her cheekbone, then adds some to her brow bone. then above her brow, here like so. She's saying to make sure you bring it onto this part of your face as well. And I really like this conversation that she has in the next little bit about texture, because she says some people tell you not to put highlighter here because it will emphasize the texture in your skin. And that's true, it does. But then she goes on to say that she really likes texture. She likes the look of texture. She likes skin to look like skin. So she purposely brings the highlight onto the front part of her face here in order to pull that texture into her look, which I love the idea of not airbrushing out all of the texture in your skin, because skin is skin and we all have it. Someone who has struggled with their skin before, I know that it can really affect you seeing all of the perfect skin online, even when you're someone like me who knows that that's not real. Finally, we have arrived at the coverage. We have arrived at the concealer. She is using a NYX Radiant Creamy Concealer. I'm gonna actually use my Merit Stick Foundation. This is meant to be a foundation and a concealer. It's a little bit dewy, so I feel like it's kind of the perfect substitute for the one that she's using that I don't have. So she starts by adding a little bit right into the inner corner of the eyes here where it's the darkest. Then she goes around the nose. She adds some right here, interestingly. Around her mouth here. Her chin. Looks like she's actually covering spots with it there, so I'm gonna do the same. Okay, so she actually just said that this is not meant to be foundation or concealer. It's more for brightening, which works because I feel like I use kind of a brightening shade. So I'm gonna go ahead and just start buffing that in. She's really just pressing it into the skin and not trying to blend it really anywhere, just press it into the places where she applied it. So again, where I have the milk primer and the powder on my chin, the creamy products going on top just look terrible. Same here, it looks so cakey. I don't know how that's not happening to her. All right, next she's going in with a liquid foundation. She's using another Anastasia one that I don't have. I'm gonna use this one here, the Lancome Teint Miracle Foundation. This is really nice and lightweight and dewy. I feel like it kind of goes with the vibes. It looks like a similar consistency to the one that she's using, and she literally just takes the tiniest little drop and puts it onto the back of her hand. So she takes her brush and dips it in, and then she starts to pat the foundation in over top of her darkness and her spots. And so she's literally covering up the contour that we put down earlier in the areas where she feels like she needs to add the coverage. So I'm going to do the same. I'm using a really, really light hand, like a super small amount. But yeah, am I just covering up all of that contouring that we did before, or can you still see it through from underneath? I'm not sure yet. I just need a teeny bit more. I feel like my brush kind of ate up a lot of the product. And I'm gonna add that here too. I'm literally using the tiniest little bit. Yeah, I'm really feeling like that just erased all of the contouring we did. You can't even really see the blush anymore. And in the areas where I had put down that powder, it's cakey, guys. But we're glowing. All right, so now she's talking about how she really likes to eat cake, but she doesn't like her face to look like cake. And she says she goes out like this all the time. She shoots her looks like this all of the time. She says if she has any pimples coming through, that she just turns them into beauty marks. So I do have a few over here that are kind of coming to the surface. So I'm just gonna take this brown eyeliner and really lightly do what she says is just add little dots and just turn them into little beauty marks. We're coming to the end. The last step in her makeup routine is a little bit of setting spray. So let's do that. Maybe this will help with the cakiness that I'm experiencing. Oh, and then we're going in with powder. She's using a pressed powder, so I'm gonna use the airbrush powder from Charlotte Tilbury. She's setting all the areas where we put concealer. So that would be in the areas where I put the Merit sticks. So here, here, on my nose, here, and then some down here. And then we're using a denser brush. What do I have like the one she's using? I don't really have anything. I'm gonna use this same Merit brush. And she's using the dense brush in the areas where she put foundation. It's funny because she spent the whole video talking about how she doesn't like using powders, but then she goes ahead and throws a bunch of powder on after her setting spray, which I like to use setting spray on top of powders to take the powderiness away. Although I will say that that helped a lot with the texture, blurred things out a little bit more. And that is the finished look. I'm gonna take my hair down. What do you guys think? I want to hear how you think it looks, what you think about how different this makeup look was compared to what I normally do. I feel like certain steps didn't really work for me. I definitely do not like the way that my pores look. I generally don't have issues with my pores, and I feel like the makeup is really settling into them on this part of my face right here and around my nose, and everything just looks kind of dry. Yeah, I just don't think I'm a fan of those sticky, tacky primers, and then to put powder over top of that and then go in with liquid on top. Like, I really just don't understand how that's working for her. My skin has a beautiful glow, but I feel like I can achieve that without having all of the dryness and like other issues that I'm experiencing on my skin right now. It feels really lightweight. It feels like I hardly have any makeup on my face at all. So that's really nice. All of those contouring steps that we did were kind of negated when I had to go in with foundation over top to cover up what I needed to cover. I think my brows look great. I really like the natural lip stain. Neither of those things were really the point of this video, unfortunately. Yeah, let me know what you guys think. I am kind of surprised. I thought I was actually going to really enjoy doing my makeup this way and that I would have a lot of takeaways from it, but in the end, I'm just really not liking at all the way that my skin looks. I feel like it looks more cakey than it does when I use a little bit more makeup, or I guess do it in the way that I normally do my light kind of everyday makeup. And I'm all for embracing your skin texture, but I feel like a lot of what's happening here is actually making my skin texture look worse than it actually is. So I don't know, I'm not in love. Like, I love that whole ethos. I love the ethos of let's embrace our skin texture and let's show it off, but let's maybe not make it look worse than it actually is, you know? Yeah, you guys, let me know what you think. Let me know if you learned anything new from this video. Thank you to Callie Ledger. Your video is beautiful. Your makeup looks beautiful. And I'm not saying that she doesn't know what she's talking about or that she's not a good makeup artist or any of those things. I think it really just goes to show how personal makeup is and how everyone does makeup differently, and that there are no rules for makeup because you're just gonna do what works best for you, what works best for your clients. This was really interesting for me. I don't think it's bad enough that I will want to wash this off or anything. I definitely feel like I could wear my makeup throughout the rest of the day like this today. I'm planning on going to the gym and stuff, and I feel like this is very gym appropriate. So that is going to be the end of this video, you guys. I hope you enjoyed. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye, guys.